Okay, so here's the deal. Back in the beginning of the summer, I got my first summer issue of Southern Living magazine, and I thought it popped off for the summer. It was so full of recipes and good ideas that I dog eared a bunch of the pages, set it aside for me to be ready to just go nuts with these beautiful recipes all summer, and then I never made a single one of them. Fast forward to this week, I saw it sitting where we keep our mail and thought, I remember her. And wouldn't you know it, it's Labor Day weekend. So I thought, let's do a little summer send off and finally make all these recipes that I've been putting off for the entire summer season. So today we're going to be making a full spread of recipes that just scream summer barbecue, that are perfect for Labor Day weekend, or maybe those last couple weeks coming up where we can soak in this last little bit of warm weather. So today we'll be making a full summer menu of Tennessee onion burgers, cream corn hush puppies, tuna dip, and a fresh peaches and cream ice cream. And we are going to start by getting the pits out and the skin off of what is actually two nectarines, but we've been on a big nectarine kick this summer, so I had to go with these. Peaches will work the exact same. It tastes the exact same. So I'm just pitting these, getting the skin off of them, and then getting them sliced up. So it's said to leave them in slices. They do kind of end up falling apart later, but I think this kind of gives them a little bit better thickness to hold together while they cook in the cast iron and in the oven. Then we need to add a couple tablespoons of sugar to this and a little pinch of salt and give it a good mix around just to make sure everything is nice and evenly coated. And then plop them into the cast iron until everything kind of gets warm through and all the sugar gets dissolved. So just keep mixing them around, and then we want to put them in a nice even layer just to make sure everything gets cooked evenly before we pop them in the oven, and then we're going to bake them in the oven for about 30 minutes. Our peaches are cooking down, and because that's going to take so long, well, it's not going to take that long because they're going to be in there for like 20-25 minutes, and then they need to cool to room temp on their own. While that happens, we are going to make a take on this tuna dip recipe. Now, this is a smoked tuna dip recipe, but I love canned tuna. I grew up in a tuna salad house. It makes me think of summer. My mom used to get the I don't think she got Bumblebee. I think she'd get the other one with that fish that wears the glasses, Sunkissed. Is that what it's called? But she used to get cans of tuna, and all she would do is add mayonnaise, salt, pepper, and celery. I specifically remember there always being celery in the tuna salad. That's how my mom, I think she probably put some other seasoning in there. And I think this is going to be even better. I love that it's a dip. And I got club crackers to go with it, which is just going to be like. This also is like a great make-ahead recipe because this ice cream needs to chill overnight at least. I figured it would be great for us to prep something else ahead of time too and make this. And this is just easy. Whip it together, mix it, be done. I am measuring out this cream cheese in a weird way only because I don't love to get the cubes of cream cheese because there's always that part that gets a little crusty on the end, and that ruins it for me. It's like trying to avoid, I don't even know, it's just like you're trying to stay away from that, and then inevitably more of it gets crusty. So I always get the container, so I'm just gonna weigh it. I don't have a shallot because my grocery store was sold out of them. Normally, if you don't want to have shallots, you can substitute them for red onions. I don't have that either. So we're going with the onion I do have. It is going to make the flavor profile different, but I'm not pressed about it if you're not. I see how this could be really good smoky, but even just like this, you didn't see that. Tuna dip is done, and our peaches in the oven just finished up. Now that the nectarines are finished cooking in the oven, they need to cool down to at least less than crazy hot like they are right now. So while they're cooling down a bit in the cast iron, we're going to make the ice cream base. And we've made lots of ice cream base before on this channel. This one didn't really seem any different from what we've done in the past. It's whole milk and heavy cream, and then sugar and egg yolks. So the egg yolks and sugar get mixed together, and the milk and heavy cream get heated, and then they slowly get tempered together to form a custard. And then this just thickens up on the stove a little bit, and then once that is all finished up and nice and thick, I will pour it into a bowl, cover it with cling film or plastic wrap, and put it right on the surface, and then put it into the fridge to chill. And then once that is cold and the nectarine mixture is cold, I will mix them together and let them sit in the fridge overnight. Then the next day rolled around, and if you're new here, this is the big chill. This is my vintage 1980s ice cream churner. It is not a normal ice cream churner, but it gets the job done. And the handle is broken, so I do have to turn it by hand, but it makes delicious ice cream. So I did this early the next morning, so that way the ice cream could sit and freeze up for the rest of the day before we ate dinner that night. But I churned it until it got thicker. It didn't need to be fully frozen though. This is about the consistency I was looking for. Then I popped it in a deli container, and I wasn't sure if this would fit in a small one, so I just went with the larger size one. Popped my label on it so that way I knew what was in here, and she went in the fridge. I know you can't see the full fit, but the fit is so cute. 2 cute outfits in one video. Y'all are spoiled. You spoiled rotten, okay? Anyways, we're finishing up our barbecue today. And the one thing that I wanted to make, because this was in here, I wanted to make hush puppies. I've never made hush puppies, but I have enjoyed them many a time. And they require a little bit of prep. We're gonna then also make some Tennessee onion burgers, and that requires not a lot of prep. Basically, these burgers are regular burgers. Everyday burger bungers. And you just do up these onions that go on top. They're like cheesy, buttery onions, and I love onions. They get some Italian seasoning and dry mustard, salt and butter, and cheese. That's it. So we're gonna make some hush puppies. We're gonna make Clark's burgers. Get you some grass-fed beef, for real. Only the good stuff. So let's get into making hush puppies. These are cream corn hush puppies, and you make the cream corn. We love a from scratch moment, okay? Is it harder? Yeah. Do we like that? Maybe. Is that weird? A little. For these hush puppies, we used fresh corn on the cob, and I just sliced that off, which always makes a giant mess, but it's always worth it. I also chopped some of an onion, and then all of this is going in a frying pan with some melted butter to cook down and get nice and golden, just like this. And then after it gets to this point, you add in a little bit of flour and you kind of make this thick, I don't even know how to explain it, corn paste. You add in heavy cream, a little bit of sugar, and boom, you got yourself some cream corn. And it thickens up even more than this, but we're going to set it aside to cool so then we can add it into the dry ingredients to form the batter. And I substituted cornmeal for corn grits in the batter. These are the corn grits I already had in my house, and that's the only reason I substituted it. It just made it a little bit thicker, and that was fine for me. Got all this mixed up good, and then you add in buttermilk. Mine was so thick. Like, look at her go. That's fine, but it was a little weird. And then you need 2 eggs. Boom. Get this all mixed together. And then once this is all good, you add in your cream corn from the stove that's been sitting there and got real thick. Add her in, dough form. Okay, and this can sit here until we're ready to fry it at the very end, so that way these are nice and hot and fresh for us to enjoy. Next, we're preparing the onions. I'm doing mine in this 9x9 glass baking dish, and then we're going to slice them thick enough that they're going to be able to maintain themselves as we bake them down, and we want to break them into individual rings. So a trick for that is just to push through the center and then go outward. They will fall apart nice and easy, and this is going to help us with getting them all cooked down, but keeping them in whole rings, which I think is really the point of this. Then it's just salt, fresh cracked pep, ground mustard, which if you don't have ground mustard, you can use regular mustard, but ground mustard is a great spice to have in your cabinet. I definitely recommend it. And then this didn't focus, but that's my favorite Italian seasoning, the Los Poblanos. We did a hefty sprinkling of this. And then you add butter. You could do little pads of butter. My butter doesn't come in like a log like normal butter, so I just got butter out of my butter bell and kind of made little butter pads and evenly placed those all over. And then we finished her off with some cheese. You're supposed to do all sharp cheddar. I did not have enough, so we finished it with mozzarella to have even cheese coverage, and it was perfect. You bake it in the oven covered. I forgot and then added it on later. It was totally fine. Okay, the last thing we have to do is burgers. And I do my burgers pretty simple, I would say. Especially for this, since I really want to highlight more of the onions that we're going to be putting on top. We're not going to go too crazy. So we have ground beef. I'm adding in some panko breadcrumbs. Sometimes I also do like crushed crackers if I need a little bit more binder, like if it's too wet. We'll see how it gets at the end. And then I love to put Lowry's in my burgers. It's like my favorite burger seasoning, but you do just have to be careful with this because it is really salty. And then a little bit of garlic powder. That egg crack was terrible. Don't talk about it. I don't always get in there with my hands if I have fake nails on, but since we're au natural right now, and also this doesn't feel too wet with the egg, so I think this is good. I'm just gonna add, actually I was gonna say I'm gonna add a little bit of pepper. I think we'll be okay. We're gonna keep her classic. I'm just gonna form up my patties. I'll put those on a plate. We'll head out to the grill. We'll get these grilled up, and then we'll fry up the Hush Puppies while we prep some burger toppings. And we're ready to eat, friends. Are you ready? I'm ready. And that is my perfect summer send-off. Everything that you want for the summer, that's delicious, that just screams summer to me, and everything was super good. Seriously, this was worth the wait, and we will be seeing some of these next summer. Also, let me know what you made this summer, or if I should make something else next summer that we can circle back around to. And don't worry, I did remember to put the pickles on after I finished that last video. Thank y'all so much for coming to the table this week. We will see you again soon. Bye!